So now we want to make it so that when we click on this floating action button, we are taken to the search screen. Let's do that. So let's go to our reader home and let's find FAB. There we go. So here is our floating action button there. So what we need to do here is to say, well, yes, nav controller, because we have access to that. We're going to navigate to make sure we get the correct one, which is the route, right? String there. And readers screen. Let's say reader screens like this, the enum. I'm going to go to search screen like that. Now, as always, let's go to our navigate or navigation, reader navigation, to make sure we have that composable, that route. We have home, reader start, stats. You see, we don't have the one we want. So I'm going to copy this, add here. In this case, it's going to be search, say reader. I think it's just called search screen. Right, very good. And there's going to be search screen. Now, notice the difference here. This is going to be, of course, a composable that we're passing here. And we have nav controller. Life is good. So now this should work. If we go back to, that means we can actually go to search screen as intended. Let's see if this works. I'm going to run. Okay, so here we go. I can go and click and voila. And if I click this back arrow, we should go back to the main screen. Why? Because we've set that up in our search screen to say when that is clicked, we navigate back to reader home screen like that. Now we could have also said something like this: nav controller pop back stack like this. This would have worked as well. So I'm gonna go like this so I can show you that this works. Okay, let's see if that's true. Let's go and back. Different options of doing the same thing, but I'll keep using this because we have nav controller, might as well do that. All right, so now let's go and put together this structure here that we have of our search screen. Okay, so search screen, there it is. Let's get rid of a few of these items that we no longer need. All right, so inside, I'm going to add a surface like this, and I need to pass anything so far. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. All right, so I'm going to put together a column here. So here is where we're going to add all of this content. So let's start with this search text field there. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to create at the bottom here the actual composable, okay, to separate things. I'm going to say composable as such, and it's going to be pretty much the same as we've done before with our login and so forth. So I'm going to say fun, call this search form, okay, and I'm going to pass a few parameters here that we need to get this to work, to look like what we want. So the first parameter is going to be, of course, a modifier, and make this optional by passing a modifier like this. Let's see, let's get the correct modifier, because we might we have to get Android X compose modifier. Why is that doing that? Let's just get rid of this because we got the wrong one first. So let's start over. Let's import. That's the one we want. Okay, let's get rid of the unnecessary redundant qualifier there. All right, so, and then I'm going to pass a loading. Again, you remember this so that we can set it up correctly. I'm going to say Boolean, and let's just say false first, and I'm going to pass a hint that's going to go inside of our text field. It's going to be a string, and it's going to just say search. All right, and then of course on search we are going to then pass the search query. It's just a string, and then we're going to say unit, and for now just going to put nothing like such. And then here I'm going to add a column, and let's go inside here. This is where I'm going to add some, actually let's go ahead and create a few variables that we're going to need. For instance, the search query, it's going to be a state. I can just append the state as well. Let's say remember. I could just use the remember, but I'm going to use remember save, just so that, or savable, I should say. That way, this is saved beyond configuration changes. Just another option. And it's going to be mutable state of, mutable state. I always get the wrong one. State of, like this. And it's going to just be an empty string as such. Let's go ahead and put that single line lambda. Okay, very good. I'm going to create then a keyboard controller here. So we are able to hide our keyboard. I'm going to say local soft keyboard controller, get the current as such. And of course, this will make us add the experimental compose UI. Okay, this is important because this can change at any time. Val, I'm going to say valid. This is going to check whether something is valid. I'm going to say remember in this case. And I'm going to pass what I need to calculate here, which is going to be the search query state, that value. Okay, so I'm going to check to see if search query state that value. I'm going to trim it. And if it's not empty, then this is true, that means valid. If it's empty, then this is going to be false, which is going to be invalid. All right, so we set up all of those for us so we can have everything set up. All right, there we have it. Now we can add here our input field. So I'm going to say input field. Remember, this input field is what we have created before as part of our library, little library containing all of our components we want to use. Okay, so we're reusing things now. And what we're going to pass for our input or value state? Well, we're going to pass our search query state. For our label ID, it's going to be search, like this. Enabled, it's going to be true. And I'm going to pass on action. I'm going to pass keyboard actions. Let's use just lambda here. So what I want to happen is that if valid or is not valid, right, it's not true, then I'm just returning the add keyboards as such action. So just really do nothing at this point. And then I'm going to pass the on search in any other case. So on search, of course, we're going to pass our search query state. So we're getting the value of our text field. Let's go ahead and trim that, of course, just get rid of all of the necessary spaces and so forth. And then what I'm going to do, we're going to use that state again, and I'm going to set the value to nothing, to an empty string. So to clear it, okay? And then let's go ahead and close our keyboard. So keyboard controller, let's go ahead and hide. We'll have to pass this safe nullable there. Okay, it's a way easier now to use what we have created earlier. So let's see, we can call that here. I'm going to say search form. We can pass a few things. And one thing we just want to pass here is going to be a modifier. I'm say modifier fill max width, and let's go ahead and give a padding, which is going to be about 16 dp like this. Okay, we need to add experimental again because that's been used, so that's added there. Well, let's see if this is going to show something here. Let's refresh. Okay, nice. This is looking real good. Let's run and see if we can see something. It's always nice to see things on device because we have the real representation of what should be. Let's click, and nice, click. Very good. So we're able to do so. So when you click there, you notice it's going to hide and clears up our search. Okay, very good. So at this point, we created this, which is really awesome. Next, we are going to put together this structure here so that we are going to be ready to then start pulling data from our API.